from populism to this division of spheres of interest. Because you can have global division of spheres of interest, but you can also have the micro division. Because saying, Milosevic saying, this is my interest, so I will wage war for that. What happened, in some ways, I would say that we living in the Balkans or in Southeastern Europe, in this part of Europe, have maybe more experience and can better understand what's happening than Western Europeans or especially Americans themselves. I think the way Trump administration, especially the second Trump administration, managed to put under control all the checks and balances and institutions of the American state shows the ease with which that happened, shows to what extent Americans are not prepared to understand the consequences of this kind of new world order. And this new world order, as we all know, is not that new. It's just new in comparison with the world order, which was based on international law, on certain international multilateral organizations, everything not perfect, everything not completely equal for everybody. But if anything, we are now witnessing the difference between an imperfect world order and no world order whatsoever, and chaos. And this is what we are facing now to some extent. This is why I say we are maybe in this part of Europe better equipped to understand what's happening.
Although one of the people you mentioned in your analysis, Alexander Stubb, he doesn't speak of the end of the order as such, but of the order that has not reached yet its end. It has still surviving in one shape or form. The question is this a process, a rift, or is it something that is reversible?
I don't think it's reversible.
So we are speaking of U.S. out of the collective defense of...
We are speaking of basically no world order based on international law, where international law is not being respected or even taken into account. We are speaking of weakened multilateral organizations, especially the UN, which you mentioned earlier, and I think we should return to that topic. We are speaking of the breakup of the old alliances, in particular the alliance between the United States and European Union.
Which for people in Kosovo is existential, and for not only people in Kosovo, but the region.
We are speaking also of the new personal alliance between the American president and the Russian president. So I don't think that the countries are allies, but the presidents are allies. So personally, they probably have the best relationship of any two leaders in the world. I mean, of bigger countries, not only of the big powers. This all is new. Of this extreme, as they politely call it, extreme transactionalism that American administration is working under. All of that is changing things forever, in my opinion. They're not going to go back to what they were, but they are going to produce something new that's going to be better from this kind of extreme transactionalism, misogyny, racism, which has resurged in international politics as values.
Legitimization of genocide, and genocide has become more or less...
This is more extreme.
Yeah.
But I have been looking into this because when things are everybody was was quoting Gramsci for a while, saying, it's the time of monsters, when the old order is disappearing and the new order has not emerged yet.
And it's not quite the quote, actually.
Yeah, of course. But it fits somehow.
Yeah, sure.
It fits. In particular, I would say that it fits something that we have never witnessed before. And that is global fear. Fear has always been a very potent instrument of politics, as we know.
Well, one of them is fear from the unknown, evidently.
Fear from the unknown. Fear from losing predictability of alliances. Sure. Fear of political whims of the big leaders. This is all justified fear.
Sure.
I mean, we should be afraid because
yes, we wake up in the morning
and there is a war, and that reflects itself. You can say, okay, that's a war far away. For us here, it's not far away, but for some countries. But this is going to reflect itself, in the price of bread and milk tomorrow in your
everywhere.
Local store, everywhere on the planet. It is also going to encourage ruffians and this profile of narcissistic political leadership that includes cruelty locally. I mean, you don't need the big powers here to make your life miserable. You can have a regional autocrat that can create pretty much the chaos. And for us, it's almost irrelevant whether it's a big power or a regional autocrat who is creating conflict, chaos. And they definitely are all encouraged by this. Now, the question is how, and this was my sort of obsession and is my obsession at the moment, to try to figure out, to find elements, not of how to go back, because I don't think we're going back, because once it has been demonstrated that you cannot rely on a relationship, you're never going to forget that. I mean, even if people change, leaders change, presidents change, you know now that this is possible.
Yes, trust is tradition.
And it's built over a long period of time, and it's destroyed in one day. Yeah. So, and especially now, very many days. But to find signs of building blocks of a new world order, because a world in chaos and the world that depends on the whims of the few leaders, 1, 2, 3 leaders of big nations or big countries, rich and geographically big and militarily dangerous, and they're now all militarily dangerous, probably China the least, but militarily dangerous, is a world that cannot function. That doesn't function. I mean, I always say, in the UN that has 193 members, about 18 countries are classified as large, world powers or large countries, which means that 175 are the rest. Yeah. So
90%.
We are the rest, and we have to figure out a world in which certain rules exist, because for medium-sized and small countries, it's impossible to survive without some rules that everybody will